we often hear about professional athletes and the transition to pros.
Yeah.
It ain't easy. You write about a moment when you were at the Bulls pregame. You go across the street and get a bottle of Hennessey.
Yeah.
You know, was that a low point for you? Or what was it? Why did you go do that? Were you just
at that time? At that time in my career, you know, I was struggling with. I had a baby when I was in high school. Then on the way to the NBA, I had another child. So then I also was dealing with another lady in college. I'm in college, you know, and she later had a baby in 2001. So I was just going through a lot. I wasn't where I wanted to be at. You know what I'm saying? And I couldn't deal with it. It was adversity again. I couldn't deal with it, and it was stressful. And I had breakdowns, you know, on the way to games. You know, at that time I couldn't think straight. You know, I had literally multiple personalities at that time. Just tugging away. It took me a while. You know, it took me a long time to relax. It took years. So then one day I did go and before the game, I think. Yeah, before the game I went to the Chicago Bulls Arena. You go down United Center, and it was right up the hill was a liquor store. You know, so I grabbed my warmups and I just went up. They said, "Where you going?" I said, "Don't worry about where I'm going. I'm going somewhere." I was very stubborn, and I just go buy some Henny, and then the liquor guys and all the homeless people, and they all in the corner like, "Hey, you got game?" I said, "Man, I need to buy my Henny right now." And don't talk to me, I just need the Henny. And I put it in my locker. You know, I'm very stubborn, just leave it hang it up. People saw it, they didn't touch it. Don't touch my Hennessey. And then I just started drinking, and it was very intoxicated during the game. And I was spiraling out of control, and the Bulls is somewhere I wanted to be. But the reason I tell people that story is because I know people go through what I've been through, so I don't mind telling it. It's not smart of me. It can mess up an Amex deal, potentially. But I think it's important to tell those stories because there's a lot of kids that's playing professional sports going through what I've gone through. So I'm always able to relate. When I was going through the mental health counseling sessions, it was more like, who am I? Trying to figure that out. And you'd be surprised, sometimes you can go through an anger management class, but it was actually the marriage counseling that helped me the most. And not necessarily with my marriage, but the way he taught the sessions helped me with my life. So when I got past that, then it was all like maintenance. You got to maintenance the mind. You know, then when I got beyond that, I continued to see my counselor, my therapist, because I wanted to see if I can go even higher. You know, it felt good to express it. Now you feel free. It's like, what else is out there? You know, what else can I connect to? What other energy could I connect to? You know, and it's great. I still see my psychologist to this day, not as much, but sometimes I just want to talk and talk some things out. So at this point, you know, I love basketball. I've been doing charity work since I was 13. I was working with paraplegics, so I've always been into that. And I love math. You know, my first major was architecture. You know, and then it was too hard to take the projects to practice because we practiced at 6:30 in the morning. Had to be in the gym. If you were a freshman, you had to be there at 5:45. So I had these big projects, so I had to get rid of that class, and I majored in art. Same problem, we still got to do projects. So then I got rid of that class, and then math was like just fun, and so I did that. But then by that time, I was going to the NBA, but it's something that I enjoyed. So I'm like, how can I apply that? I can't do everything. So now I love the fact that I can apply it and help kids, you know, sports, education, and wellness, and that's what I'm at now.
I love that.